One of the first things that really drew me into Decay of Logos was the vast environment and the brutality of the combat animations. After spending hundreds of hours in Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls, something rang true with Decay of Logos. Now, it's unfair to compare Decay of Logos, an unknown entity at this point, to either of those games, but it got my attention nonetheless. Now, where does it stand? I hope to surmise its progress from the initial announcement trailer to the current workings. My name is Gio from SwitchRPG.com, and this is my Spotlight. Now let's be totally clear, I'm operating on blind faith here, but it's not often a game hooks me in so deep. I'm going off hand-picked trailers and dev blog posts of still images, but Amplify Creations has been fairly open regarding the progress in the game, as well as responding well to critique. Amplify Creations is a middleware company based in Portugal that creates assets for game developers around the world. For example, the Amplify Creation team is known by other developers for the Amplify shader editor for Unity 3D. Now you may be asking, how does this relate to Decay of Logos? Well, this really helps speed up the process of game development. Being able to have the Amplify game team in the same room as the Amplify tech team dramatically reduces that development time. So yeah, being a middleware company, they can provide their own tools, saving that sweet, precious development time. Not only can the tech team provide an immediate response to any issues, but there are also a few game developers that work on that side of the aisle. What other games have they worked on, and is this the first game they fully developed? Well, as a team, Decay of Logos is their first title, but that doesn't mean they're without any experience. Some of the other team members have worked on other games such as RimWorld, Brink, and Rust, to name a few. And since the original concept by Andre Constantino, to date, Decay of Logos has been in development for over 3 years and has seen some notable changes, which includes the main protagonist. Decay of Logos is an immersive narrative-driven third-person action RPG. With this title, the development team is hoping for a game with no loading screens. While this isn't a new concept, making it work and look seamless will certainly be a challenge. In my opinion, God of War is really the only game to truly stand out to make this happen. Taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls, Decay of Logos hopes to reward the player for its combat expertise and exploration of its world. The player will need to learn their own weapon animations because each weapon type has a different action, as well as the enemy's moveset in order to succeed. The world that Amplify has built is inspired by its local culture as well. Some Portuguese architecture and folklore have been installed in this world. Being Portuguese myself, I quickly identified certain landmarks and attire in this game. In fact, there is one enemy in particular that Andre mentions in a developer vlog that still gives me creeps to this day. Another of the notable inspirations is Miyazaki's anime film Princess Mononoke, which is evident by use of the elk. While it may not be Yakul, the red elk, in Princess Mononoke, the steed in Decay of Logos acts as a mount and is involved in inventory management. Throughout the game, Ada, the main protagonist, has limited storage space, so the use of her mount has an ancillary purpose, so be sure to gain its trust, as it may have other purposes as well. And just like with Princess Mononoke, there is a dark and ominous tone here. As the story unfolds, you begin to notice things that really aren't what they seem. Combining all these inspirations seems like a very daunting task, but one that I hope the dev team hits out of the park. To flesh out the world, the use of non-playable characters and echo shells breathe life into the narrative, past and present. Echo shells are items that are littered throughout the game that build up lore in the world by accessing memory ripples of past events. Both the music and the art design have a blend of high fantasy and steampunk. Ricardo Tomei is now at the helm of art director, and his concept art has unified the vision for Decay of Logos. The JRR-inspired concept art will now come to life by the talented development team. some of Ricardo's other work can be seen in RimWorld, a sci-fi construction simulator. Now with the audio production, Renato Martino has the responsibility to make the game more dynamic and immersive. It's difficult to say if he succeeded at this point, but from what I've heard so far, the music is atmospheric and seems to embrace the design of the game. I'll admit to this, if the initial announcement trailer didn't excite you or hook you in, I can see why. The lack of definition in the environment seemed to muddle everything in the background, and maybe some of the animations weren't up to some people's standards, but I could see past that. I could see past those imperfections, and I imagined that it could only get better. And you know what? It has. From the initial concept trailer to its current form, there has been a lot of growth here. And don't get me wrong, I don't want Decay of Logos to be a Dark Souls or Breath of the Wild clone. I want them to take what their inspirations do well, which is telling me a story without holding my hand and force me to explore. That initial moment where something just takes you by surprise and it sticks with you, it becomes a permanent part of your memory, and that can't be taken back or redone, so only time will tell. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and also be sure to visit SwitchRPG.com for all your Nintendo Switch RPG needs.